we're actually going to do a bit of a short night tonight. I've got a few things happening. I haven't organised myself very well, so there's been a lot happening. So we're going to get straight into it, and yeah, let's do it. Well, welcome all. There's a few on, so welcome, guys. I do need to turn off this thing here that's telling me that I'm live and buzzing in my ear. So we'll just go here and we'll just turn that off. So, bit of a funny night tonight. I really got back from the lease late last night. Absolutely slammed. Yeah, so I'm not really feeling it tonight. So, but there's some big giant things that we need to cover, and that's what we're going to get into. I have no comments up. I'm very well organised here, so yes, we might just have to go with the good old-fashioned comments and go from there. So heaps of people here: Justin, Steve, Glenn, Craig over on YouTube. So welcome, and let me just pull this up here so I can see the comments. Righto, guys. So yes, hope everyone's going well. We've had lots of things happening here, and before we go too much further, what did I do with them? I just had them here. Get out. So tonight we're going to give away one on YouTube, one on the Facebook. We're going to give away what I think is the world's greatest pan, which is the see-through pan, right? See-through pan. It's actually a Garrett Gold Trap pan. I think they're amongst the best pans. This offset bottom is fantastic, which you can't see. See how it's offset? You can sort of make it out. So, yes. So, one of them to YouTube, one of them to the Facebook. So that's what we're going to do. So we've got a few things to cover. I'm going to have a general chat about things. But there's been so much going on in Queensland with regard to the fossicking news this week. And it's not good for Queensland. What happened to New South Wales 18 months, 2 years ago, has happened to Queensland. So we'll just get over there. I've got the Fossicking Act here. So what's happening is they haven't changed the Fossicking Act. They've changed the rules and the responsibilities, which doesn't need any law to change. It doesn't need the government to change that. But there is a slight change here in it. It used to say no machinery permitted, but they've added this line. It includes water sluices with electronic pumps and dredges of any time. So what that means is not a great thing for Queenslanders with a recirculating sluice or a powered sluice. We used to be able to get away with the running a recirculating sluice. So, you know, you're not harming the environment any more than you pan. You know, particularly if you're taking water with you and shoveling into a recirculating sluice, it makes no environmental impact. Now that's banned, done. There is talk that it's actually, you can't even do it at home. If you get caught with it at home, you cop a fine. So that's a bit ordinary for Queensland. There is moves in place. There is actually moves in place to put together a fossicking association for Queensland, because Queensland hasn't got NAPFA or a statewide body. It basically it has nothing. So I know of two different organisations that are actually being prepared. So I don't know whether one popped out of the blue. So I'm sort of getting involved in one of them. But who knows what happens there? We've got to, there's a lot of work to be done there. But yes. So people are talking about, does that mean I'm private property? That's Benny Henderson. I think Benny's got a decent setup on a trailer. Yes, I believe it's anywhere in Queensland. So you bring home a bucket of dirt and running it in a 6-inch recirc, technically, you're, technically not allowed to do it. But, so if they're asking, well, how are you going to run the dirt when you get home? You want to see a gold pan. So, so that's very, very disappointing. Clearly, the people making the decisions have no concept of actually what happens fossicking wise. So we're going to see if we can help with that. So Danny, what's the rules? So let me just clarify this, right? So when we looked at the fossicking rules, it said nothing electronic. So even the wording's not quite. It's electric pump, right? Not electronic pump. But so they got the wording wrong. But anyway, so anything powered. So a bilge pump, a petrol pump. Petrol pumps have always been out, but bilge pumps we were getting away with. New South Wales is the same. Bilge pumps, petrol pump. You can, however, run a river sluice. So you can still run a river sluice. So yes, that's right. So it's very, very, very sad, but that's what, And from what I'm hearing, I haven't talked to the government officials or anything like that as yet, is that apparently a lot of people that were doing it as a hobby were making a very good living by it. So that's really what I think has gone on there. So I think it's more about cracking down, making a living, but what do you do? So yes. Anyway, manual pumps I believe are fine. So if we were to go back over here, let me just get this over here and just get it up here and put it across. So I've still got that bit highlighted there. This includes water sluices with electronic pumps. So if we looked at that and said electric or electronic, electronic I believe is chips and motherboards and all that sort of thing. But I think they will police you for electric pumps. So electric pumps are fine. I see a lot of comments kicking around the place on stuff like Gusher bilge pumps. I probably spelled bilge wrong, but I think we'll manage it and get there. So these Gusher bilge pumps here. So these can pump a lot of water. This sort of style of thing where you work the handle. I don't know exactly what's happening with that, but I think because that's not electronic, I think you're a chance with that because it's not includes water sluices with electronic pumps. So I think you probably get away with that Gusher style pump. So let's hope so. Right, so we're apparently my sound's down. I'm probably the sound of my voice is down a bit tonight. So I think you'd get through with one of those Gusher pumps, and I think you'd be now, we'll turn the volume up because I'm a bit quiet. I'll get a bit more there. I don't know whether that'll be an improvement. So can they book you for having one in the car, Danny asks. I think you'd find that if you're in a fossicking area, I think you'd be, I think if they saw it in your car, I don't think they've got any rights to search you. There was a whole lot of stuff going on out at the campgrounds the other day. They were checking people in the campgrounds. I don't know whether I'd be too keen on that being checked in the campground. But yeah, so and Matty's right. If you've got running water, you can always run a river sluice. However, a lot of the goldfields in Queensland, certainly southeast Queensland, don't have a lot of water. So yeah, I'm glad the volume's cool, guys. So yeah, so I don't think that you're. Yeah, I think it's an absolute pain in the back end. But what do you do? So you got to play by the rules, and you'd kind of hope that would change down the track. We still hope to get it changed. It's very, very hard to. The hardest thing is when you don't have an association, you don't have one body speaking, you've got this person saying this and yelling out about this, and you got one person saying this, and you got, I've been sort of working on it for months, well, years really, and trying to just gently go about things in the background and talk to the right people. And I'm a member of about 5 different tourist information people that have advocates that can go and get things changed for tourism, but it just doesn't seem to work at, that doesn't seem to work very well at all. So I'll get involved in this thing and we'll see what happens. So right, so yeah, so you've got to have lucky to have running water out here. Dry blower. Now, I would think a dry blower would be out with that as well. Certainly a powered one, a 12-volt one, I think a dry blower would be out. But I don't know about that. So, yeah, it's going to be a mission. So, yeah, so... I would, Terry, lots of people asking about dry blower. I don't know. I have to look into that. The biggest thing with this stuff is when you start looking into it and asking questions, and this is what's happened with sluices. Everyone has to know we had a grey area that everyone was working in, and then all of a sudden everyone has to know what was happening and get an exact ruling on what we could do, and we've got an exact ruling. So, that's what's happened. So, and that's all right. Like I, worked in the grey areas, and I stood in a fossicking area with a ranger, with a parks ranger, and a mines department inspector. Right? They had a look at the thing and they said, "Oh no problem at all. You don't have any problems with it at all. So you're not doing any damage to the environment. Happy days. You're recirculating the water. You're not touching the creek." But obviously, yes. So yes, that's what we're doing in Queensland. So yeah. So yes, quite often. No, David makes a good point here. Electronic. Does that mean metal detectors as well? So if we were to go back to here and we were to go, let's just have a look here. So this is the, hang on, let me roll it up here so you can see what's going on. Hand tools, those picks, havels, shakers, electronic detectors and metal detectors and other similar tools can be used. It's just no machinery, and this includes water sluices with electronic pumps. So dredges have been out for ages. So yes, so that's really the only change. Just that sentence there. This includes water sluices with electronic pumps. So we'd got away with it for a while. Sorry, I hadn't loaded up. It's that. So my apologies, I didn't load that up there. So you see here it says hand tools, picks, shovels, shakers, electronic detectors, metal detectors can be used. Okay, but this is the change here: electronic pumps. That sentence is the only thing that's changed. So I'd like to see an argument in court about it, because the Fossicking Act, the actual Fossicking Act, says you're only allowed to the thing you can't do is use a mechanical machinery to remove dirt, to extract dirt. That's what the Act says, right? So, yeah. Yeah, everyone's talking about cradles and hand-powered pumps. Yeah. So, yeah. That's the way forward, I think. So, yeah. Who makes it? Yeah, exactly. It's not definitive, because I think if you had lots of money, right, and you copped a fine, right, and you got a lawyer to go in, because legally it's not, they don't police you on the rules and responsibilities, they police you on the law, the actual act, and they haven't changed the Fossicking Act at all. So the Fossicking Act still says that you can't extract material, you mechanically can't extract material. So I think if you had lots of money and a lawyer on your side, I think you'd win. But who wants to do that for a $300 fine or a $400 fine? So, yeah. So, well, Ian says here, machinery can still be hand cranked. It's still a machine. Well, where do you go? So, yeah, it's crazy. So, anyway, so that's Queensland. I'm moving to Victoria and running my for my high banking. I'll be running down to Victoria where you guys have got the rules, so to suit that. So yeah. So anyway, righto. So let's update this. Right, got a little bit of inside information. If you are on our little mailing list, you would have got an email today. Some lucky people got 2. So and it's about the 6,000, right? So my gut instinct, the noises I'm hearing, is it's not that far away. So what I basically said in the email is you really need to start talking to us now if you'd like one of these 6,000s. Maybe not right now because I haven't silenced that phone, but you probably need to get yourselves on a bit of a waiting list, I would think, because it's happening soon, and yeah, it's happening soon. So if you're after 6,000, give us a ring the next day or two, and we'll talk you through the procedure if you do want one. As we've been talking about all the time, it's about a $8,000 spend. I think it's a very, very good machine. I think it'll go smaller gold. And when we're talking smaller, people think, oh, I don't want those crumbs. So I think it'll find smaller gold deeper. So that 0.2 that the SDC hears, that 0.1 that the SDC hears, the little tiny bits of 7 hears, right, and the 5, right, I think it will find them deeper. There's no question in my mind about that. Okay. I think where the 7 wins is bigger stuff, right? Now, I haven't fully tested that yet. I've only spent probably 15 hours on it. So, I shouldn't be pointing over there. I should be pointing at the screen here. Yeah. So it's much lighter, much easier to use. So I think there'll be a lot of them sold. So if you want one, you need to get on a waiting list. I think that nationwide there won't be enough stock. I think that you won't be able to walk into a prospecting store and pick one up off the shelf, Dave. Off the shelf. You just won't be able to do that. So if you want one, give us a ring. We can help you out. You can do massive training and all sorts of stuff with it. So let's get on it. So so I've been filming a bit of it. I'm under a no publish rule. So so there'll be no publishing of that until I get the release to do it, because I don't want to upset the, but yeah, it's a good machine. It is no doubt about that. So yeah, Todd, I'm not answering that question at all. So Scott asked a question, and a couple of people have asked this question about mining leases. Yes, mining leases can run them. There's no doubt about that. What a mining lease is it's permission, a granted permission to do that. So a lease, my lease, for instance, I run a trommel, I run the trommel sort of thing. So I'm allowed to do that because I've got permission to do that. So so it's just that's how it is. I pay a lot of money for the permission to do that, of course. So but yeah, that's how it works, sort of thing. So I know people get cranky and say, "Oh, well, it's just the little guys that can't do it." Well, yeah, you can also get a lease over an area. If you like an area, you can also get a lease yourself. So yeah, yes. Okay. So here's a workaround, right? So I think that I have to clarify this, but I believe I'm going to. I believe that I'm going to be able to run a weekend or multiple weekends for high banking and sluicing on the lease, right? So I think we might be able to do something like that. I need to look at the legalities. Steve, what does a lease cost per year, please? My lease costs me, mine's only a small lease. Mine's only 33 acres, so 11 hectares. The lease, that lease cost me about $14,000 a year to run. So, plus gold royalty. So I pay 5% on the gold. So that's about what it costs. So, So, and then purchasing them, like leases in southeast Queensland are very expensive. Okay, if you were to go to some of these more remote places like North Queensland, right, the leases can be cheaper, but so southeast Queensland, because it's convenient, and Matty's dead right. That's for the lease. Matty, you should be doing this show. You're smarter than I am. I forget stuff. So for the lease, I've got to put all of that back, right? Trees. The land's got to be right. I've got to manage it correctly. I've got to water. It's very, very, very. Exactly. Frank, do you get workplace inspectors without notice? I get inspections without notice all the time. I've had, in the last 4 weeks, I've had mines department out there. I've had state forest out there. I've had, they all come out and have a look, make sure what you're doing. So, my bond, Greg asked, what's your bond cost? My bond costs are about $7,000, I think, that they're sitting on. So, but that's just based on how much ground I've got open. So I'm only allowed under my bond to open up a hectare at a time. So yeah. So yeah. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. So Diana makes a good point that she bought one last year for a birthday, and yeah, I actually haven't got any. Well, I've got a recirc here we display, but that's really more displaying the map. I will be stocking them, but I will tell every person that buys them. The guys here are under no illusions that they have to tell everyone that now they're illegal, sort of thing. So yeah. So yeah. Do you need a fossicking license on the lease? You need a fossicking license. So if you're training on the lease, right? You don't actually need a fossicking license. If you're doing training with someone else and they're taking you to another location, that's not a lease, right? You do need a fossicking permit. So yes, make sure you do that. And yeah. So it's yeah. But yes. So Jeff, let me just see if I can. I've mucked something up here. Let me just see if I can get a picture. I don't think I've saved them yet. For some reason, I'm a bit dopey tonight, and I didn't save the 2 pictures I wanted to show tonight. So I'm going to do them now, if you don't mind. Actually, no. What I'll do is I can do them here. So people asked about the lease and the lease track. What's this a picture of? No, that's not the right picture. So let me just get it here. All right, guys, just get these pictures up here. I want to show you some of these pictures of the lease track. What did I do there? So the lease out, we've got training this weekend coming up, and the I can't do it that way anyway. And we've had a lot of water out there. Just to give you an idea of how much water, I've just got to find a couple of photos here, and get them sent across, because I've only got the one. Right, here we go. I'll send that to myself here. But the water that was out there was, I've never seen any water like that in my life out there. So I'll just bring it up here. We should be able to just make that big screen. Okay, it's a shocking photo, but let's just share this across here. So this was the track. You can't see that properly. So let's just come back here. You can tell I'm very well organised tonight. So it's classy. So yeah. So let me just add it here, and we'll do it properly. We'll add a image here. We'll call it image 4 because that's super cool. Here it is here. Open it up. So, and these are terrible photos. So let me just a little bit. So that is what we were facing, and all the tracks in the forest from last weekend, they were just bedlam. That was up here. That's a creek that never used to exist. That used to be just a gully, but up here, that's a running creek. That is just the craziest thing. So, Blakey there. G'day, Blakey from Blue Dog. I saw Smokey here as well, Smokey prospecting. But Blake, yeah, we had a metre of water over the dam. So it was, it was chaos. So it was, amazing. So, Yeah. So, um, yeah. So those tracks have now dried out. So we couldn't put a machine on them. I couldn't quite get a machine on a couple of areas that I had to repair on the weekend. But I reckon by Wednesday it'll be right. You'll be right to bring a van in, and you'll be right to go. So yeah. So we've got a lot of water. So yeah. Pete, if someone buys a lease, they're allowed to set up a camp. Yeah, you're allowed to set up a camp on the lease. So, I don't know whether anyone's seen my lease. Well, you've seen my lease, but yeah, I've got a pretty decent camp out there. So, um, yeah, yeah, you can set up a camp. You have to get all of this stuff approved, right? You can't just it's not willy-nilly sort of stuff that you can just do whatever you want. You have to get this stuff approved. So it's not that simple. So don't think for a minute that it is simple at all. So let me just get this here. Just want to see if I can do this. This is since we're talking lease, this is the final. Oh, what did I do there? I went through there. So that's the trommel as she's working now. So working very well. We got the hydraulics on her. It's running very, very well. We're just cleaning up a little bit of dirt up there, and then we're going to rehab all of that top section. So it will be pretty cool. So I'm looking for that. Looking forward to getting out of that top area. So, Wade, can I lease part of your lease to me? I don't know whether you can do a sublease. I don't think so. So, yeah. So, yeah. Right. So, Danny, there is some prospecting events coming up. I know the World Championships is on. Carrara Nugget Hunters coming up. Yeah, so yeah, it'll be great. So, Tam, if you buy a detector off me, I'll do online training for you. What we have done for people that have bought it and want the training in the past is we actually do a live stream where we've both got a detector. Well, not a live stream, a video chat. That has worked. We're trying that out so we can get onto some. Yeah. Craig, is the lease freehold or state land? It's state forest where my lease is, so I've got to pay them as well as everyone else. So, oh, Chris, I'm struggling with the equipment to make a ring. Chris is asking about I'm going to make a ring. I'm still making a ring. I'm just getting have to get the whatchamacallit. Now, guys, that's really about it tonight. Okay, so it's going to be a slightly shorter one. It's going to be 35, 40 minutes. That's why I've been answering a stack of questions. So, in the next couple of minutes, we're going to draw these out. All you need to do is make a comment to enter the prize, to go into the prize to win one of these. One of these will be going on Facebook and one on YouTube. They are the greatest pans ever made, I think. I love them so much. So there was no numbers in this game. So yes, I watch a bit of Vogas videos. Yes, it's Vogas is all happening. I didn't see the one with the crushing, but I have got a few there to watch. So right, so. Tamworth was very cold this morning, I'm hearing. So, yeah. Right, okay, guys. So we're going to close it off now. Let me just get the comment picker here working. So let's just get one here. Righto. So last chance, guys. Before we do the draw, last chance in the house here before we do the draw. We're going to do the YouTube one first, so we'll do that right now. It'll go to, where's that? Doing that. Nevin, Altheus, Nevin. Congratulations, mate. You need to contact me. I can't contact you on Facebook, on YouTube. So that's the YouTube one. And then the John Moore on Facebook. So, John, I will send you a message straight after the show. It's a shorter show tonight. So, so congratulations, John and Nevin, on winning the pans. So, guys, next week we'll be either at the lease doing a show, or we're going to have a proper formatted show. I suspect that it will be a quite large show with lots of people that have found gold on the lease, because we've got a big training weekend on the lease. So hopefully there's a lot of people that have found gold. And then we're going to do a big wrap-up of the weekend. Pay dirt, not yet. Coming with the wash plan. It's working. Alright, guys. See you next week. Thanks very much.
Thanks guys for watching. Remember to like, share and subscribe, and call us on the Daylight Helpline. See you next time.